Obi, Ashley, K92.3, and while we have your favorite country artists on, your city leaders on, I also think we should probably check in on each other's mental health, too, and that's why we have a specialist on the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Shantala, how are you?
Good. How are you, Obi?
We are doing fantastic. So we appreciate you allowing us to get a hold of you this morning so this way we can kind of talk about what in the actual F is going on with this world.
I know. It's one thing after another. Now they're talking about hurricane season. Like, good grief.
Well, and we specifically wanted to talk to you about kids and their mental status, but really quickly, I wanna approach adults too, because whether it's earthquakes, asteroids, I mean, you name it, we're just going through something really unique right now.
Yes, I actually was talking to a news station the other day, and last month was my busiest month of my career.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy because in March it kind of dropped a little with COVID and everything, and then April started picking up, and then last month was crazy, and I've been wondering why I'm so tired.
I can only imagine.
Definitely.
That's because it's got to be tiring on you. Now, of course, for anyone that doesn't know, what exactly is your title? What do you do? You know, what do you specialize in?
I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm in Lake Mary, Florida. I've been in private practice for about 7.5 years, and I worked also for Orange County Public Schools for 14 years as a guidance counselor and in district mental health. But I'm solely private practice now.
Well,
and my specialty has always been kids and families, but I'm moving more towards young adults now.
wow, and yeah, for what you've seen out of that whole bracket, whether it's been the kids, whether it's been the young adults, or even us right now asking you personally, what is the big overall Band-Aid that you could put on all of this?
You know, I don't know if there's a Band-Aid or if it's more just a support network that you have to build for yourself. It seems like, and I do work with a lot of adults as well, it seems like a lot of the things that stress us in daily life are kind of coming to the surface more than ever. So even some of my old clients that, you know, have moved on are coming back in because the things that we're dealing with here, whether it be, you know, sickness or now there's riots and violence and an unstable economy, all these things are bringing up old issues or kind of bringing things to the surface that maybe weren't really something we dealt with as much in the past. So it's, you know, being able to talk about it, it's being able to address it, being able to work through it. And when you mention kids, I think that's the most important thing is leaving that door open for conversation. You know, in my family sessions, I always bring up current events right now. I don't necessarily say, okay, what do you think about the riots? Right. I say, you know, have you been watching the news? How are you feeling about what's going on in the world? You know, my kids are 12 and 13, and I find out, you know, where they are emotionally and how they're feeling about it. And then we kind of go from there. And that's what I encourage parents to do is really just to touch base with their kids, find out what they know, find out what they're seeing. Because if you just ignore it and hope they, you know, don't see it or don't hear about it, they're just going to develop their own opinions on it that could be faulty or scary, could make them think that they're in danger. Instead of, you know, opening up the conversation so that they can feel more at ease and understand, you know, what's going on and what they can do. I think sometimes just empowering kids, you know, if they're older, you know, teaching them about voting and, you know, writing to their congressmen and treating other people equally and all that stuff. And then if they're younger, teaching them about kindness, you know, talking about how can you be kind to others and how can you, you know, do good for others and just really focusing on that part, helping them see what they can do in their community, kind of giving them a sense of control in that way.
Well, and Shantala, I wanted to ask you, just because obviously I'm not a parent, but I have many friends that are, you know, Obi in here is a father, and we've been hearing that conversation a lot is people that want to be able to have the conversation with their children, they just don't know the right way of going about it. So is there a way to even generalize or, you know, a message that you could give to parents in general? I know, I love what you said is you just got to have the conversation and bring it up and talk about it. But if you could just talk a little bit more on that.
Well, with the younger kids, it's more, you know, just kind of asking them. I think you have to check in with kids regularly anyway, because they do have so much more access than I know I ever did as a kid to any sort of media. So they're seeing things that we don't even know they're seeing sometimes. You know, I have parents telling me that things are popping up on YouTube that are, inappropriate, but they're commercial or something. I had no idea. So checking in with them and finding out what they're listening to, what they're hearing, and asking them questions about it, what they're hearing, how they feel about it, what their concerns are, and then just answering their question on an as-needed basis. So for younger kids, we're not going to elaborate. We're going to just give them what they need at the time. And then older kids, we're going to open up the conversation because I obviously do know about it and they need to talk about it.
Right, depending
so
on
bringing
the
it up.
Yeah, depending on the maturity. I think something that you said that really sticks out to me is as a parent, don't ignore it because they will come up with their own thoughts on it. And that really stuck out to me because, man, if I leave myself to my own thoughts, oh my God, I'll drive myself crazy. That's why sometimes we need wisdom from others. And I think that's so great that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, also just telling them, we also don't have all the answers. We don't always know, I mean, it's an ever-changing world. But like I said before, like trying to help them have a sense of control and what can they do for their community to make it a better place.
You know what?
I think feeling that helps.
And I think the kids, they appreciate when their parents are genuine like that. Like, I think us as parents, we feel like we have to have the answers. But the minute I admit to my kids that I'm stressed out and that I don't know what's going on, I think they look at it too. And they look at you as a parent and they're like, okay, so we're all in this together. And
I can imagine you in your position, Shantala, what Obi just said, kids appreciate later on down the road that their parents were that way.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Giving them the ability to have an open mind about what's going on in their world, too, to be able to have, if they get older into their teen years, to develop their own rational thinking about what's going on and what their convictions are and their feelings are and being able to think through those things, I think is so important. But also, especially with the younger kids, we want to maintain a calm front. Some parents can have extremely high anxiety during this time, and it's understandable, but being careful how much of that they show their kids because kids also will reflect the emotions that their parents are showing.
Right. They will feed off of that, right.
Before we let you go, Shantala, I know you got a busy schedule as well. May was Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think, I'm sure you are just so happy to see the changes that are taking place with people talking about it. So anyone that's out there, any of our listeners that might be listening right now and, themselves maybe have never even talked to a therapist or talked to anybody, and then you're talking about kids, just letting them know it is okay and that there are resources out there like yourself, especially that was in the school system for so long working with children, and that it is a service that's being utilized. It's not as, what do you call it, as it used to be,
Stigmatized. Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. And I'm so glad that you guys, took the time out to talk to me today because I'm very encouraged that talking to someone and working through issues is normal. It should be as normal, I feel like, as brushing our teeth. We live in a very crazy world with a lot going on, and we all need to take care of our mental health just as we would our physical health.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, you're great. Your approach is great. We love our relationship with you, and hey, keep sharp.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank